Sometimes, the moment you walk into a room, the air itself changes. Every eye turns toward you not because you're loud, not because you're trying to be seen, but because you carry an energy, a presence, that makes it impossible to look away. In those eyes, there's admiration but also a quiet trace of envy. Because not everyone has the courage to live honestly, to move through life with the fire of freedom burning inside them. Aries, you weren't born to follow the path that's already been paved. You came here to open new roads, to remind the world that to live fully is a sacred act. And that light of yours, strong, raw, fearless, is what sets you apart. It's what makes the world both drawn to you and a little intimidated by the strength you carry. Tonight, we begin a journey deep into the heart of who you are. 7 reasons why the world secretly envies Aries. Not to inflate the ego, but to help you understand that envy is only a reflection of the power that already lives within you. And it all begins with the first spark, the flame of courage, the light that makes you the symbol of what it means to truly live in a world still afraid to begin. Inside every soul marked by Aries, there burns a quiet flame, not loud, not boastful, just steady, alive, and unshakably present in the silence. That flame glows brightest when the world hesitates, when fear freezes others in their tracks. And as you step forward, the light from your fire spills into the hidden corners of other hearts, into places they've never dared to face. Maybe that's why, sometimes, your courage makes people uneasy. The bravery of Aries isn't born from logic, it's the heartbeat of the soul itself. Like a seed pushing through heavy soil, not because it knows it will survive, but because it simply can't not grow. You don't act to prove anything, you move because something inside you whispers, go, even if no one has gone before you. From a Buddhist lens, courage isn't just the strength of will, it's compassion in motion. Only when your heart is wide enough can you face fear, your own and that of others. Every step you take isn't a competition, it's gratitude in action. It's your way of telling the universe, I'm ready to live fully. People don't envy you because you move fast, they envy you because you move free. Free from judgment, free from the fear of not being enough, free from the gaze of the crowd. While many wait for the right moment, you turn this very moment into your moment. That's what sets you apart, and what makes the world both admire and compare itself to you. The world is full of those preparing, but few who begin. You Aries were born to be the first to walk through unopened doors. Maybe you've stumbled, maybe your steps are scarred, but those scars are proof of a spirit that refuses to live halfway. And when you lift your head, rain or shine, the universe smiles softly and says, I see you, you're still burning bright. If there's one lesson you've gifted the world, it's this. Courage doesn't mean you feel no fear. Courage means you feel it and move anyway. Every time you act, you open a path for someone behind you. Every time you face instead of flee, you remind the world that healing begins when we trust the light within. Think back for a moment. Was there a time you leapt beyond your comfort zone just to find yourself waiting on the other side of fear? Share that story, no matter how small, because somewhere, someone listening might feel your flame and remember their own. And when the night turns quiet, perhaps you'll realize courage isn't the roar of a lion. It's the calm breath of someone living in truth. It doesn't seek praise. It doesn't shout. It simply whispers, I'm walking, because I was born to keep moving. But courage doesn't end in action. Beneath the ashes of fear, another light is waiting to be named, the kind of light that makes every head turn when you enter a room. The light people call confidence. But what it truly is your soul shining through. In a world that never stops talking, where everyone is fighting to be seen, to be heard, to be approved, Aries walks a different path, the path of presence. You don't need to shout to be noticed. You don't need to prove your worth to be trusted. Just standing there, your energy shifts the entire room. Some people enter carrying noise, but you, Aries, you enter carrying a feeling. Your confidence isn't a wall built from praise or achievements. It's like morning light, gentle, steady, finding its way into every dark corner, chasing away doubt without ever trying to. Others may call it arrogance, but you know it's something purer, a trust in yourself that doesn't need a reason. From a Buddhist view, that light is awareness itself, the stillness of a mind no longer shaken by the words of others. When you know who you are, you don't have to prove it, you simply are. People don't envy you because you're better, they envy you because they've never known what it feels like to believe in themselves without needing permission. They watch you move through life with quiet certainty, and deep down, they wish they could live that way too, without fear, without comparison, without waiting for someone else to say yes. The world is tired, Aries, tired of voices shouting to be louder than the rest. What it's missing are souls brave enough to be silent in their faith. And that stillness, that quiet conviction, is what defines your power. True confidence isn't noise, it's peace. It's the soft radiance of someone who knows they don't need to rush because they are already where they are meant to be. You are the oil lamp in a dark room, no wind needed to burn brighter, no applause needed to glow. Your existence alone brings light. Some may not understand it. Some may even flinch away because your light reflects the shadows they avoid within themselves. But Aries, don't let those glances make you question your worth. When your light makes others uncomfortable, it doesn't mean you're too much, it simply means they're not yet ready to see themselves. Remember this, confidence is not something to learn. It's something to remember. It's an ancient memory of your soul, the part of you that already knows, I am enough. I was born to shine for no reason at all. If someone ever calls you arrogant, just smile softly. Because when your heart is still, every word becomes just passing wind. How you respond with fire or with compassion always mirrors your true strength. And when you choose compassion, you're not weaker, you're stronger in a way the world rarely understands. Each time you trust yourself without needing to prove it, you're teaching the world something profound. That freedom doesn't come from being accepted. It comes from standing steady in the quiet of your own belief. And then, as you breathe deeply, as that light expands from within, you'll feel it, that calm warmth rising in your chest, a peace that doesn't come from success but from harmony, the perfect balance between soul and action. Your confidence, Aries, is a silent prayer whispered to the universe. I trust the path I walk. And as that energy moves outward, it opens the next door, where confidence meets destiny, where your light becomes leadership, and your soul steps into a new beginning. Some souls are not born to follow in anyone's footsteps. They're born to leave the first ones on untouched ground. Aries is one of them. Inside you, there's a strange calling, like a drum echoing from a faraway place, urging you to move, even when no one else dares to take that first step. You don't need a map. You don't need a plan. All you need is a feeling, and you trust it completely. People often look at you with a mix of wonder and fear. They don't understand what drives you, what gives you the courage to try, to fail, to begin when everything is still uncertain. But for you, action isn't a choice, it's instinct. Each time your soul whispers go, you know that's the moment the universe opens a new door. And you walk through carrying faith, carrying courage, even when the world around you is still cloaked in darkness. In a world built on hesitation, you are the first breath of creation. Every step you take is an arrow through the wind, cutting through the unknown, opening a path no one's seen before. But your destination has never been victory, it's beginnings. You create the motion that later becomes inspiration for others. People don't envy you for what you achieve, they envy you for your freedom. They fear failure while you dance with it. They wait for a sign while you are the sign. While they linger on the sidelines, you're already miles ahead, not because you're proving anything, but because you've stopped needing to. From a Buddhist view, the pioneering spirit is a sacred form of service, a karmic blessing. Because a soul that dares to act is a soul that gives back. There is no true courage without love, love for life, love for the world. You don't lead to stand above, you lead to light the way. You move first, not to be seen, but to awaken those still waiting. Yes, there are moments when the road feels lonely, but remember, you're not behind, you're ahead. The universe chose you to begin new chapters, to bring new energy into motion. And because of that, there will be times when it feels like no one understands you. Don't let that frighten you. The souls who open new paths must always walk through the night before dawn arrives. The world envies those who begin, because most only watch. But you, Aries, even in your smallest actions, create ripples across the cosmos. When you try, you give permission for others to try. When you fall, you teach the world how to rise. When you succeed, you remind everyone that dreams are not just ideas, they are possibilities. Think back for a moment. Was there ever a time you began something before you were ready? Maybe it was one small act, a word, a decision, a step forward. But in that instant, you were completely alive, aligned with the pioneering essence of your soul. Keep that moment close. It's proof that you trusted yourself when the world was still silent. And as you continue to move forward, don't fear the falls, because in every stumble your light rekindles, and the world witnesses something undeniable. Nothing can keep an Aries down for long. Some souls are born carrying a strange and sacred gift, the gift of renewal. Aries is one of those souls. When life throws you into the fire, you don't burn to ashes, you become the ashes that shine. And from that glowing dust, you rise again, eyes still bright, heart still warm, hands still ready to build a new beginning. People are often amazed by how quickly you recover. They think you don't feel pain, that you're somehow immune to heartbreak. But only you, the one who's walked through the storm, knows the truth. You don't escape pain. You move through it, like the phoenix that steps into the flames, not to die, but to be reborn. For you, every ending isn't a final stop, it's a doorway. A chance to begin again, deeper, calmer, wiser. From a Buddhist perspective, letting go at the right moment is the path of wisdom. Not because you're weak, but because your soul knows this truth. Whatever you hold too tightly will eventually hold you. When you finally learn to release, the old karma dissolves, and you are free to start again, not from zero, but from clarity. People envy that, because they're still caught in the loops of regret, fear, and self-blame. They don't understand how you can smile after losing, how you can trust life one more time. But you know, forgiving yourself is a form of courage. And only when we forgive ourselves can we truly live. Some wounds don't need to disappear. They just need to be seen through the eyes of understanding. You've learned to look at pain like a teacher, stern but kind. And because of that, you no longer fear loss. You understand that when something leaves, it's simply making space for what's meant for you. Pause for a moment. Think of the times you thought you couldn't go on, and yet you did. Maybe you fell in love and lost. Maybe you failed at something you believed in. Maybe your faith cracked for a while, but each time you rose softer, wiser, and somehow brighter. Because every breaking point refines your soul, shaping you into a version of truth closer to who you're meant to be. If you're hearing this now, maybe you've stood on that edge between despair and hope. And if you're still here breathing, listening, it means you chose life. Say it quietly to yourself, I have been reborn. Not once, but 100 times in one lifetime. They say Aries forgets quickly, but no, you don't forget. You simply choose not to be chained to the past. You carry the lesson, not the wound. And that ability to heal through action, through faith, through light is what makes your soul both admired and envied. Remember, healing isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering who you are beyond the pain. Because beneath the ashes, there's always a flame waiting to rise again. And when you do, the light inside you shines even brighter than before. Because what makes you unstoppable isn't just your power to rise. It's your honesty with yourself, no matter how the world around you changes. There are people who walk through a world full of masks, and yet their eyes remain as clear as spring water. They don't use fancy words. They don't try to be likable. They don't bend themselves to fit in. They simply live by what feels true. Aries is one of those rare souls. In an age where everyone is busy polishing their image, your honesty is like a strange breeze, refreshing, disarming, almost shocking. Because real light always exposes what's false. People may call you too blunt, too fiery, too unfiltered. But somewhere, deep inside, there's envy that you dare to live as yourself, while they shrink themselves to fit into the world's mold. Buddha once taught that the root of suffering is falsehood, not just in our words, but in the ways we pretend to be someone we're not. Each time we hide the truth in our hearts, we build another wall between ourselves and freedom. You, Aries, seem to know this by instinct. You understand that living truthfully can be lonely, that honesty can cost you friendships, that being real can sometimes hurt. But you also know nothing weighs heavier than wearing a face that isn't yours. Maybe you've lost someone because you spoke your truth. Maybe you've been judged, misunderstood, or left behind because you refused to pretend. If so, know this: you weren't wrong. Losing people for being real is an invisible blessing. It clears away what isn't meant for you. When you live in truth, those who only loved your mask will drift away. And those who see your soul will stay, because your spirit shines brightest when it's uncovered. Being real doesn't mean saying everything. It means never lying to your own heart. It's the highest form of compassion, first for yourself. Because when you dare to be honest with your feelings, your desires, your pain, you're embracing yourself with understanding. And only when you love yourself through truth can you love others with genuine kindness. In a world built on patterns, you choose to rewrite the rules. In a crowd full of noise, you choose to be the quiet voice of truth. Maybe that choice feels lonely sometimes, but solitude is where your soul echoes most clearly. It's in that silence that you hear your own voice, a sound most people have long forgotten. When an Aries lives in truth, you don't just inspire, you become a mirror. You give others permission to take off their masks, to breathe again. And sometimes one person's courage to be real is enough to make the whole world soften, a little less afraid, a little less fake. Think back for a moment to a time you chose truth over comfort. Maybe it cost you something, or maybe it set you free. Share that story, because somewhere, someone might hear it and finally step out of the darkness of pretending. And when you look back, you'll see truth never makes you weaker. It makes you shine. It is the breath, the wind, the sacred fuel that keeps the divine fire in your heart alive. Passion in the heart of Aries isn't a flame stirred by the wind, it's a fire fed by the soul. A flame that doesn't need anyone to ignite it, that doesn't fear being extinguished, one that burns quietly, steadily, and alive. When you do something with your whole heart, the world may not always understand, but the energy you release spreads like warmth, awakening everyone it touches. You don't just live, you truly live. You don't simply pass through the days, you breathe spirit into each moment as if every breath were a prayer. While others measure and calculate, you are willing to burn for what you believe in. People watch you and silently wonder, how can you live with such intensity? How can you love, hurt, and begin again so fiercely when they themselves are still hesitating at the edge? For Aries, passion isn't recklessness. It's the sacred current that connects you to your purpose. Each time you act from your heart, your soul opens and the universe recognizes you. Then, everything begins to flow in a mysterious harmony, effort turns into alignment, and life starts moving with you instead of against you. People don't envy you because you have more, they envy you because you feel more. They've forgotten what it means to be fully alive. They see the fire in your eyes and remember, how long has it been since they last saw that light within themselves? The world doesn't envy your success, it envies your aliveness. In the endless stream of life, some people let their inner flame fade. Joy becomes routine, emotion turns into duty. But you, Aries, you refuse to forget. You choose feeling over safety, faith over calculation. You may hurt deeply, but that pain belongs to someone who's alive, not to someone who's forgotten who they are. Your passion isn't for fame or victory, it's for life itself. You burn for the light in others, for turning an ordinary day into a moment that matters. You don't just create your own fire, you awaken the sleeping souls around you. And when others look at you, they don't just see strength, they see hope. They see proof that life can still be vivid, raw, and real. If there comes a moment when you feel yourself slowing down, ask softly, what keeps my fire alive? Maybe it's love. Maybe it's faith. Maybe it's the soft glow of dawn that greets you each morning. Whatever it is, hold it close. Because when you remember the source of your fire, you'll never fear the dark again. And while you keep burning, keep walking, keep warming those who have lost their way. Someone will whisper, Aries is so lucky. But is it really luck? Or is it the reward of a soul brave enough to live fully with fire in its heart? Some people look at Aries and say, "You're so lucky." They see you walking through life with that bright light in your eyes. They see doors opening for you, things falling into place, as if the universe itself were arranging every beautiful detail in your favor. But only you, the one who's walked that path, truly knows. Luck isn't a gift that's handed to you. It's the result of all the times you dared to move through the dark when no light was in sight. Every time you act with faith and a pure heart, the universe quietly shifts around you, not to reward you, but to mirror the energy you've sent out. In Buddhist wisdom, this is called karma and synchronicity. When a seed of goodness is planted without fear, it sprouts as an opportunity, a meeting, or a moment that looks like coincidence, but isn't. You never really know what's going to happen, and yet you still choose to act. Not because you're certain of success, but because you understand that standing still is the only true failure. That faith, pure and unwavering, makes you the challenger of all odds. People envy you because they've never dared to step forward without a guarantee. They forget that miracles don't appear when we wait, they appear when we walk, even while our hearts are still trembling. The world calls it luck, but you know better. It's not luck, it's the meeting point between your actions and your soul. When you do something with an open heart and no agenda, you create harmony with the current of the universe. It's like dropping a stone into still water. The ripples expand outward, and eventually they return, soft but certain. Life always sends back what you send out, though never in quite the same form. When you sow courage, you receive opportunity. When you sow faith, you receive miracles. When you act through love, you meet kindred souls. And when you take a risk, you gain a lesson, sometimes painful, but always essential for your soul's growth. Miracles aren't supernatural. They happen in that sacred instant when you stop trying to control and start trusting. When courage replaces fear and action replaces waiting, that's when the door to fortune opens. Because the universe doesn't reward perfection, it rewards sincerity. Think back to the last time someone called you lucky. Ask yourself, before that blessing appeared, didn't you have to risk something? Didn't you have to believe in something no one else could see? Share that story. Because maybe, just maybe, that moment you called a risk was actually the miracle the universe had been preparing for you. Aries, you are living proof that fortune belongs to those brave enough to begin. You don't wait for miracles, you make them through heart and action. And that's why your light is impossible to ignore. It moves people. It awakens something deep within them. Because in the end, no one is truly luckier than anyone else. There are only souls who dare to live fully, who dare to trust the fire in their hearts. And in doing so, they see the gentle hand of the universe quietly lifting them forward. Aries, may your flame never fade. May your courage continue to awaken the souls still asleep. Thank you for walking this journey with me. May you always move in peace, in confidence, and in harmony with your sacred purpose.